we'd welcome your comments in the discussion because this is just awful. And anyway, so I wanted to open with that. So, feel free to
Right.
comment on that or add links and stuff in the chat if you want.
Hmm.
Kathy got hold of this sign that if you have a business, you may want to post. And I'm going to make some of these and laminate them for
That'll
anybody
be
who wants them. Get in touch and we'll get them to you. They originated here from the Illinois Workers in Action. And I've got them linked here and all the places that I'm going to mention in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to put them in the chat. So, because I know you can't click that link from where you are, but don't worry, I'll get these links in the chat for you. And the AI transcription will probably have everything as well, or the chat transcription. So don't worry about copying links, but if you want to post this, I understand the ICE is having a lot of trouble finding a place where they can get a decent burrito because nobody wants to let them in. Gee, I wonder why. Okay, so I love Chicago. All right, so we got volunteer opportunities for you. A couple of them. Go ahead, Kathy, and talk about partners for our communities.
Yes. I was at an immigration meeting at the library a few weeks ago. It was excellently run. A number of our candidates, some of them are attorneys. They have been fired by Trump because they were involved in U.S. aid and things like that. So they're running for office, and it's just been it was a great evening. I met Seth Moland Kovash, and he is the director of Partners in Our Community, which is just 4 blocks away from our dental office. And I've been familiar with it, but I have not gotten my act together to get over there and talk with them about us volunteering as Stand With Women. I think right now more than ever, it's important. And they have opportunities for us to help with their clothing closet, which means helping to organize the clothing that comes in, encouraging people to donate. They have a food pantry that it goes on a number of times a week. And I believe the food is donated by Faith. Oh, I have it here. Faith something. It's really a really cool. Also, in the past, I know some of my patients, they have learned to speak English. They have taken some classes to become a citizen over there in the past. They just have a lot of wraparound services. The one we have here in Palatine closest to me is on Rand Road. They have one on Green Avenue. They have another one at Fulton Park, Hoffman Estates, and Hanover Park. I did put in, there we go. I'm going to send it right now. This is their website, www.poc.news. Now, Michelle and I were talking about how it'd be great for us to have Stand With Women volunteer, and we can maybe pick a few days where maybe 2 or 3 or 4 could volunteer at a time. You do need to, if you are interested in helping out, and I sent an email and I did speak with the gal who was in charge, and she said, oh my goodness, we really could use help. So it'd be wonderful for us to do that, especially with a lot of the immigrants, some of them not able to come out of their homes to get food. We may be able to help deliver food. Um, I know that our office is right across from a big apartment complex where there are a lot of Hispanics, and I see after 3:30 the teenagers walking to go to the store for their parents because honestly their parents aren't leaving their homes. Certainly some are. Our plaza has many Mexican delicious places to eat. It's on Baldwin Road, and they're pretty quiet. I know that some come, but it's a pretty quiet strip mall at this point. People are afraid. We have one gal whose dad did self-deport, and the mom is still here, and she's got her daughter who's 18, and she cleans apartments. And she actually, because ICE was in the building, she hid in a closet for 2 hours. And this little gal, she has just got this undercurrent of my mom could be deported at any moment. One thing she had heard, and maybe if anybody has information on this, she had heard, and it's hard to know what's really true or not, that if her mom says, I will self deport immediately because her husband is down in Mexico, that they would do that. We're hoping that It's almost like that's what she should do because she's really not anywhere near getting the papers needed for her to stay. And so that's breaking up a family. You know, main breadwinners aren't here anymore. And we're going to see people that maybe are kicked out of their apartments, you know, or definitely need food. So it's really affecting where I am. And there are ice in our parking lot a lot of mornings. And so it's real. And we are doing a protest rally called No Ice in Our Neighborhood, and it's at Baldwin and Dundee, which is in
We'll have that too in the upcoming events, Kathy. So
Okay,
we
great.
can talk about that protest in that time slot.
Okay,
How about you want to tell them a little bit about the Community Mental Health Project and the
yes,
sock and diaper
yes.
drive?
The Community Mental Health Board has, and Michelle has this up, is running a new underwear for children and adults, diapers, all sizes, especially newborn and toddler, socks, ages and sizes. Drop-off locations are in Palatine at various locations. So I believe you can just go to maybe can you do people
I've
just need
got
to
all
take
the links, Kathy. They're gonna go on the
Oh,
chat.
okay, great. So yes, I
You
was
can order
at
from Amazon and have it shipped.
Oh, that's great, Joyce. Yeah, maybe.
Brilliant.
Okay, that's great. So we wish to do that through the month of October, and that's going to benefit Wings, from what I understand, right? Joyce, that's benefiting Wings. And then for us with our, POC, we can work on that too. So, okay, that's good.
That's good. So, a couple of things in the news we wanted to just very briefly mention. Um, on the abortion front, they are now coming for abortion records. This is news coming out of Missouri here. I will put a couple of links to this story here and one from AP in the chat as well. So these are things that we thought would never happen, happening now. And so we wanted to draw everybody's attention to that as well. And I'm going to stop the share now so that we can begin our open discussion. And we want to hear from you. Raise your hand if you want to talk. Debbie Rudy's going to tee you all up and announce you. And I'm going to go and put all those links in the chat. And then right before we have Scott Britton on, we will run through our upcoming events, including including the No Ice protest, and give you information on that.
Great.
So there you go. Do we have anyone who wants to talk? Please, there we go.
We have Keith, yes. All right, Keith, go ahead.
I just want to show up. Where's the video? Hold on. Where am I?
You're there, I hear you.
I'm just making the video going. Can I be seen? Hello? There I am.
You
All
are.
right. All right. So, yeah, I just want to let people know in Rogers Park, they did have ice raids. And I guess from the chat, I guess like 200 people end up roaming around the neighborhood. We all got whistles, which is kind of cool. Felt weird to walk around with one, but once you see a couple people out there and, it seemed kind of cool. Yeah, I was that happened. Also, Kat Abagazalo is roaming around, which was great. Or at least I said there also was nearby. Yeah, and so I just did that, and then
Keith,
break
just
it
to
up.
let you know, you're coming through a
towards the
little
market, 'cause we
choppy.
were getting reports of that too. So, yeah, hadn't really thought of prepared everything, but that was my day.
Thanks for all you're
Oh,
doing
also
here,
it helps to wear a
Keith.
Star Wars shirt.
We love the whistles.
Awesome, yes. All right.
Sure.
That's all for me.
Identify.
Thank you. And then there was Jim. Long time no see, Jim.
Yeah. So I'm just going to talk about something that I brought up this morning at Coffee and Conversation. And it's what JB, our governor, talked about. With the military running around, Trump is trying to normalize that. And the concern is when it comes time for election, he's going to say, I need to secure the polling places. And he's going to have military at the polling places. That's going to keep a lot of people away from voting. And then they're going to say, we need to secure the ballots because we're concerned that this election, there may be a lot of fraud here. So we just need to stay on top of what's happening. Don't normalize the fact that there's military running around. It's not normal. We can't accept that. And I think that's where we just have to, and it's great what Keith is doing. You know, it just,
I think the extreme violence that they're exhibiting all the time, the pushing and the shoving of people and so forth, is also partly done to try to provoke the crowd into violence as well. And I really have to commend the people of Chicago for their restraint because we absolutely must remain nonviolent. And, this is just paramount. And, it takes the courts so long to move and it's really frustrating. But some of the preliminary stuff that came down, was it Thursday earlier today? It's all a blur. Was looking positive, with regards to their ability to do what they're doing here. All this warrantless BS going into people's apartments without warrants and breaking down doors and ransacking apartments and stuff. It's heinous. It's really heinous. So stay strong because we're going to lose our rights if we don't use them. And, I wish everybody courage. And, I know it's energized me a little bit more, and I'm going to get out there again and again and keep doing it. My name's already out there, a little late for me to try to hide, so might as well be out there. Okay, that's me. Thanks. I appreciate all the love and everything. So let's hear from a few others here. Anyone else would like to comment?
I did put in the chat a rapid response team phone number. If you do see ice in a parking lot or heading towards an apartment building, you can call this number. It's in the chat. It's 855-435-7693. And it works. I've heard from other people that it really works. The thing is, so many of our Hispanic friends, they're just not as familiar with all this, although some are very familiar. I have quite a cool underground in my office. They tell me a lot of things that are going on. But if you could, have that even on your phone, would be a great idea. And, just be alert, as Michelle is saying. And if you own a business, they do not have to, they shouldn't be in your business. And you can just go right up to them and say, you're not allowed here. And they should be able to just, not even come in at that point.
Is that number good for anywhere in the United States or only in Chicago?
Actually, my son also sent it to me. He's in Portland, and I had it already. And I said, whoo-hoo. So yes, it is. It looks like it's nationwide.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's good to know. And the whistles are good too. And if you cannot do anything else, eat at more Mexican restaurants because they need our support. So
Yes,
we're
they do.
making that our go-to now. And I told my husband the other day, don't take out that chicken. I'm gonna be at one of the Mexican places. I'll pick up extra for dinner. And give the support you can that way, right? So okay, Jim, go
has
ahead.
his hand up. Yeah.
yeah, just so Customs and Border Patrol are legally authorized to only operate within 100 miles of the border. But they're in Chicago because they're claiming the shores of Lake Michigan is the border.
Jim, I figured it out. It's
Yeah.
the Sharpie.
I remember the Sharpie. Yes,
yeah.
that must be it.
Well, I think that court order said something about them already being under some kind of temporary restraining order, which further restricts their ability to do warrantless arrests and some such. And I don't know, I didn't read it all. Maybe somebody can quote one of the legal minds on that ruling that came down. But they're just not following law. I think that's
Right.
the biggest problem we have here. So yeah, it's tough. But go
And
ahead.
even if the FBI says they're gonna, just like anything that any of them all are saying, I don't believe one word of them. And that is very scary to me. What's her name? The Attorney General was on, I think my husband watches a lot of pre-World War II with Hitler. His family was very involved in the war from Poland, Ukraine. And so he's very attuned to it. And he says, oh my goodness, what's happening here is just what was happening in the 30s, in terms of free speech and what can be taught in the schools and libraries being shut down and only certain books. It's just really, and I feel kind of helpless sometimes, but then I hang out with all you guys and we just put one foot in front of the other.
So question, that sign that you guys showed for businesses, is that something that's printed that we can buy somewhere, and is there are we
I'm going to go
organized
out on
are we
a
organizing
limb.
to get that into different communities? How is it?
My receptionist showed me that today, and then I sent it on to Michelle because I thought she could at least put it up on the screen tonight.
Yeah, okay, Jim, I tell you what, we'll try to make it available somewhere. I couldn't figure out where to link to it. So I could send a link to where it's posted. If I can find that, I will. But the artwork itself credits that Illinois Workers in Action.
Oh,
And honestly, I don't think they're going to mind if we make copies of it. And that's what I'm going to do. I got a home printer. I got a little laminator. I'm going to make a stack of 10 or 15 of them and drop them off at a certain dental office that I know of here in Palatine. And if y'all know that about that dental office and where it is, and maybe somebody will bring some over to the GPAD Dems office and, they can spread that way. If we run out, I'll print some more, okay?
We
I've got
actually
a
had
big
somebody,
stack of paper NWSOFA bought for me there. I can't think of a better way to put it to use. So I'll be on that little artwork project tonight. And, if they call back and say, hey, those are 50 cents a piece, well, we'll make arrangements, I'm gonna ask forgiveness, not permission on this
that's
one.
right.
So,
Joyce, you had
okay.
something?
I was
Yeah, I
going
think
to say,
Joyce is
Judy
up.
Janes in the local
Yes.
Palatine area Democrats has been dropping them off in that area, and the businesses are really thankful. I don't know if it's that exact sign, but it's some sort of supportive sign, and businesses are very thankful to have those.
Yes, we support immigrant families, and then No Kings. It's up at our No Manches in our restaurant right next to our office there, our dental office. And he did not have the rapid response number, which kind of surprised me. So I need to make sure that everybody, and I have like a whole thing on my counter, as Jim saw today too, he's dropping things off, just things for people to take as they, take their floss and take a red card with them.
Yeah, and Kathy, drop
has
that
her hands
number,
up.
drop that number again in the chat because
Sure.
I think everybody should be loading that into their cell phones and, have that on speed dial, pop it into your favorites and, let's go. Kathy Risberg, nice to see you tonight.
Yes.
Hello, why don't you go ahead?
I will. Hi, everybody. I'm trying to drop a picture into the chat, but I couldn't get it to go in there. Maybe it's too big. One of the things that I picked up on Anat Chenker-Osario's monthly briefing is the need to lean into, in these dark times, a sense of humor. So I guess in Portland, Oregon, they are showing up at the protests with inflatables. Now, we have the taco chicken, but people are wearing inflatable outfits. And one of the ideas behind this is that it's important to resist, refuse, and ridicule. So rather than cowering in fear from ICE, you obviously want to do the safe, respectful, law-abiding things, you could dress up in weird
Yeah.
costumes. And I guess that has a positive effect.
Something different,
Now,
right?
Kathy is laughing. So that's the thing, because the thing is they want us to be afraid. So when you're afraid, you don't have that resourceful type thinking going on in your brain. You cannot problem solve. You can't be as strong and as resilient as you might be if you assess the situation and you find creative ways around it. So I think that is one of the only ways we're going to get through this, is if we can find examples of ways to support people, as Kathy and Michelle are doing on this event tonight, and also ways to play around with the minds of the people who are trying to appear stronger than they are. So
Yes.
if anyone can find a picture, I could have Googled fighting fascism with inflatables, if you guys can find links to that. And I also wanted to point out that in the chat, I dropped two big messages, two parts of the message about the vigil that a whole bunch of people in the suburbs are planning. And that is going to be on December 7th, Sunday night. It's going to be available online. It's the Interfaith Vigil for all victims and survivors of gun violence, Sunday, December 7th, at 6:30 p.m. in person. And then the vigil program itself goes from 7 to 8, and that will be in person, or it'll be streamed online. And that's at First United Methodist Church in Arlington Heights.
And I've been to 2 or 3 of them, and they are beautiful. It's a beautiful evening with so many different speakers of different faiths. And with Scott Britton coming tonight with his Cook County United Against Hate, I'd asked Kathy to make sure that we had that information, because it's a beautiful follow-up from what he is going to share. I know we're all feeling rather angry, but we have to just keep loving through this. And I was at an event just the other night. Deb, I don't know, is there somebody with their hand up? Because I was at this event on Saturday. It's called Biter House of Hospitality, real quick. They have taken in young men boys that came as minors, unaccompanied. And they have 22 young boys and men, 13 different languages, some from Africa, some from the Bahamas and South America and Haiti, and of course from Mexico and South America. And they find out through at the border, this was before Trump came in, that they would actually get a call for some border control patrol people and judges, and say, hey, these kids need to be picked up. We need for them to have a place. Because if you come as a minor, you automatically get asylum, which I didn't know, if you come unaccompanied. I learned that. So they house these young boys. They're in Chicago. They make sure they go to the schools. They have attorneys for them. They also help them get jobs. If they are fostered, then once they're out of foster care at 18, there's a place for them to come and stay. So they're really doing a wonderful service. And a lot of them spoke at this fundraiser I was at on Sunday. And that is a very positive thing that's happening. That's for sure. And they're trying to keep these kids from getting deported, and they've got lawyers to help. So that's good.
Okay, Kathy, we have Bill with his hand up. Would you like me to go to Bill Hurt?
Sure.
Hey, hello, good evening. Nice to be connecting with you. By the way, I'm an alum from Loyola Chicago many years ago, and thrilled to support and connect with Chicago folks. I'm thrilled to think that a lot of us are going to be learning a lot of little tips and tricks to connect and be supporting each other. One of the things that I was thrilled to hear is that right now there are tow truck drivers who are going around ICE groups, right? And if anybody's parking illegally, they're towing them to an impound lot and things like that. I think we're going to find lots and lots of creative ways to do things like that. I also think if people are being mistreated in ICE raids and so forth, the local police ought to be finding ways to detain them, the ICE people, and let them go through a legal process themselves. And I just think there's a number of other things that we might be doing. For example, form on voting days, form locked arms safety corridors for voters to stay in line. When we got training where we were locking arms with such intensity in our local training in Dayton here that we can actually feel the heartbeat of people on both sides of us in the line. That is such a wonderful connection and way to stay protected, you know, for people voting in line. And I just think there's going to be lots more things like that for us to do. I look forward to it.
Oh,
Thank you
that's
for
very
that.
good, Bill. Very
Um,
interesting, Bill.
yeah.
Thank you.
Keep us posted. Please
Yeah.
come back and keep us posted.
Yeah.
And
thanks.
Ann Galkin, go ahead. You'll need to unmute.
Hi, it's Ann. Sorry it took me a second. I really liked the idea that Bill had initially about joining hands and that sort of thing. But I wanted to ask, there's some comments in the chat about protecting your rights and how to behave as protesters, and what you can do to create a record of peaceful protest. And there were some responses to that in the chat that said, well, what good does that do? What if ICE still violates your rights? And the chances are is that ICE may violate your rights. They seem to be violating the constitutional rights of a lot of people. I mean, I keep wondering why we're even permitting, so-called ICE agents. Do we even know who they are? Do we know, as American citizens, how they were hired, what kind of background check they went through, and what their training is? I mean, it seems to me that the White House is pulling ICE agents from all different, different agencies in the federal government, but who else are they? They seem to be ridiculously untrained,
Proud
laughing at
Boys.
children being zip tied. I mean,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't strike
and
me as professional. And I love Bill's idea about why aren't the Chicago police and the local police or the state police there to protect protesters? I mean, the Chicago, there's no love lost between ICE and the Chicago Police Department. I've done a little bit of immigration law, and the Chicago Police Department are very supportive of helping, immigrants who have been, victimized by crime. They don't address it. And,
Mm-hmm.
and they, our school systems, don't address it. I mean, the whole culture in Chicago, and maybe this isn't true in all of Illinois, but the whole culture in the Chicago metropolitan area is one of, patience and understanding, and just allowing our community to feel peaceful, and and our institutions not to be aggressive.
Um,
You know,
So,
and
Ann, are you saying that you're wondering why the police aren't pushing the ICE agents like out of parking lots? Why they aren't?
no, I'm wondering why police aren't there to document or even possibly confront,
Yeah.
as one law enforcement officer to another, to an ICE agent, to say, you're violating the rights of the citizen. You don't have probable cause to arrest. This person is here protesting, and
Mm-hmm.
it's peaceful and it's lawful.
yep.
And, for you to intimidate them with a gun or a flashbang, or to come up and ask them what their name is and their immigration status, that's really, there's really no reason for an ICE officer even to go up to someone and ask that information. If you're just a peaceful protester, what is the crime that they're
Exactly.
investigating? There isn't a
Mm-hmm.
crime there. There's no probable cause. And
Ann, I got a question for you or Bill or any of the attorneys who are with us today. In Illinois specifically, if asked by one of these guys, are you required to show ID or tell them your name? Or can you just say, I want my attorney, I choose not to. Why are you coming after me? Does anybody know the rules here in Illinois? Because I think it'd be good if we all knew them.
I don't. I can look it up and get back to you.
That'd be great. I think we could, call it out on the coffee and conversation and stuff once we have that information. And as more and more of us are going to be going and engaging in these places, protesting, I think it's good to know what to do if they do show up. They haven't come to the clock tower in Palatine or anything yet, but who knows when these things are far
Yeah, I mean,
behind.
I think protesters should be armed with their rights and the statements that they give. And the thing that attorneys will advise you, and any other attorneys can step in um, and say something else. But when I advise a client on doing something that could be a little dicey, I always want them to understand what their risks are and
Mhm.
how to approach a situation. So I think it'd be great if we gave people protest cards or, know your rights protest cards. I know we're doing that for undocumented immigrants and people who are immigrants to the US that are in the immigration process, or even people who have their citizenship but were once immigrants. I mean, but we're not doing that for protesters.
I wonder if there
And
might be something out there if we looked it up, because that
Yeah,
is a
maybe,
great
or
point, Anne.
Indivisible Illinois or something might be able to give us a resource that's specific. Before we go to the next couple hand raisers, and we can probably only
I
take two
have
more
something
because we're,
about the cards. I just want to say know your
Yes.
rights protest cards. I'm in Wisconsin. I signed up for No Kings on October 18th. I now have 3,000 cards. I've just requested them. I filled out my safety information, and they came in the mail a couple days ago.
wow.
Rights for
okay.
protesters.
Where'd you get them from, Deb?
I love
No
this.
Kings, the No Kings event.
No
The No
Kings.
Kings
Okay.
I'm
events.
posting the No
Okay.
Kings.
And
I was
I've not been able
clicking
to
on that side
monitor.
up and down. Should I just?
Yeah,
Okay,
I've
hold
not
on.
been able to monitor the chat, but
What's that?
I'm
one thing
looking at it
did
right
catch
now.
one thing did catch my attention, and
Just
that was
let me put
Kimberly
down there.
Ingram said that she's
Lynn,
heading
can you mute, please?
and Kimberly Ingram said that she was getting a group together to go to the Broadview Ice. And Kimberly, I just want to invite you to either speak and tell us a little bit about that, or if you would like to drop NWSOFA your contact information and stuff if you want to see if more of us want to connect with you. So anyway, I'll throw that out there. Kimberly, go ahead.
Yeah, that would be great. We are just starting to put this together. It's a group of women that I've just met through living in Chicago, and somebody came up with the idea in the group after seeing them do the costumes in Portland, and really thought it's a way to just truly show like we are there peacefully, because many of us have been at Broadview and had our rights violated as protesters. And so we thought this would be a way to just show up and try to bring a little bit of lightness to it, because it is so intense and difficult. And so somebody in the group said there was a roper bar crawl recently in Chicago. So they got the idea from that and thought it would be fun to dress up as Mrs. Roper. So we're just starting to pull that all together. So I'd be happy once we do to be able to share that information.
Okay, great. I see Bill Hurt, and then we've got Garrick Balk, and then I think we'll go over to Bill Davis and our and Mark for GP and Joyce for GPED Dem. So go ahead, Bill.
Thank you. Sorry, just real quickly, I just wanted to throw out a few other things. I'm not an expert at all, but I'm also thrilled that we share information about helping each other when there are protests or situations where some of us may be getting arrested, for example. Things, just real quickly, things like if you think there's even a possibility you might be arrested, you want to make sure you don't have your cell phone on you or your house key and things like that can be confiscated by the police, and they can track many things down for you. Have your spouse or a friend or things like that, and be prepared for some eventualities, and we'll have some handbook information. When I say we, this isn't me organizing it, but I think we'll want to be sharing things like that for people who are going to be arrested.
Thank you. Thank you. Garrick, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Garrick from South Elgin, Illinois, and Julie Austin, you beat me to the punch. I was going to suggest ACLU. Ed Yanka was on with Roger Christian-Morphy's. He had a last-second town hall last night, and they specifically talked about knowing your rights when you're out in protesting, etc. So I would, follow up with Julie's link in a chat here. ACLU is a wonderful place to start to understand your rights and how to be safe, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we got one more, Ron Harding, and then we've got to go over to Bill because we're already a few minutes late here. So go ahead, Ron.
I'm Mrs. Ron.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm
That's all right,
reading the
that's all right.
names. I just see the names. Okay.
That's okay. We're both here. So Derek touched on this already. So ACLU has this Know Your Rights, and it's multiple pages. If you go to their website, it's got how to share the information with other people, and as well as all the specific details, which is a nice summary starter.
Yes, and we know we can trust them. That is a trusted source.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I put that URL in the chat, so you can.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Michelle, I have a little thing, something I put in the chat for everybody in case they're interested. It says Chicago journalists and protesters sued senior administration officials this week. So it's something to look at, see if anybody's interested in that, to find out if there's any solution, because I did not read it yet.
Okay.
Good.
There's
Okay.
also
Okay, Bill, I am going to turn it over to you now. Do you want me to put up those upcoming events on the screen, or do you just want to talk to them? Bill, you got your own, I see. Go ahead, you're sharing.
Yeah, and then I'd like you to put those events up once we get ready to go on this. And let me just share. Come on, sharing my screen. Well, there we go. So I just wanted to kind of give a little word from the sponsor here. You're listening to our Stand With Women group here, Kathy and Michelle, who are part of NWSOFA, which stands for Northwest Suburbs Organizing for Action. And we're an Indivisible chapter. We're located in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Guys, we are part of a huge movement. There are literally 22 to 2,500 chapters across the country. 4 to 10 new chapters a day are being added. When we talk about a movement, we're going to be talking about what's coming up with No Kings 2. And that's huge. It just cleared over 2,600 locations. No Kings 1, which was huge, had 2,200 locations. So this is really going. Our whole organization exists to help people understand what's going on, to understand how to communicate with people, whether you're trying to figure out how not to argue or how to argue, but basically it's that whole communication. Just to get an eyeball on who we are, we literally, on the right-hand side, you can see the turquoise area. On the outer ring, those are 10 of our issued teams as of January 1st, 2025. But we have been expanding huge across the country. We now have over 2,300 members nationwide. And on the inside of this, you'll actually see new teams that have been growing, organized by this national group that we've got moving forward. So it's really an amazing thing. 19 teams every month are doing one, sometimes two, sometimes four groups, these Zooms, etc. And it's all managed over on the left-hand side in the orange with our communications team. We apologize if we're sending you too much stuff, but that's the way it basically go. And on the right-hand side here, these are the 9 new teams that have been created just to manage what we're doing. One of the cool ones you'll see on the right-hand side says rallies and protests daily. We literally are doing rallies and protests across the country daily. and across our area. And who manages all this? We have 30 all volunteer chapter leads. And you can just see a cross section of them listed up here. You can see that Kathy Nietzschus is there and Michelle is there. But it's not just them, it's everybody doing this work. And so that's really what I wanted to kind of say, and so that you understand the scope. Each one of these 19 teams is putting information out here just like this today. And two of those groups we didn't talk about. One is our every morning 9 o'clock coffee and conversation. And it goes on Monday through Friday, 9 to 10. Sometimes it goes after hours, but it's a very, very, very cool program. And then the other one that's very similar to that is used to be called our happy hour, but now we call it our unhappy happy hour. And that's at 5 o'clock every Friday. It's kind of conflicting a little bit with Kathy's protests that are going on, but we're actually encouraging people to go over there. So it's really, really cool. So we have an amazing group of people, and hats off to Kathy and to Michelle for putting this on tonight. And Michelle, do you just want me to kind of list off the top of my head
I'll
what's
put,
coming up?
I can share the screen and
Perfect.
you know, I know there's always more stuff. So everything is not on here, you know, because like Bill said, coffee and conversation and the unhappy happy hour is always going on. And these are just a few things we want to draw your immediate attention to. So go ahead, Bill.
Yeah. Well, you know, today we're here with our Stand With Women group, but just before this, we had our sorting soup conversation, where people come together to talk about the concepts and the things that we talk about on our coffee and conversation, but they develop action plans, which is really cool. And that was just a great program. We just got off that and jumped onto this here. Tomorrow, we do have our unhappy happy hour at 5 p.m. These are all central times. And there's also the local protests that are going on in Dundee and Baldwin, about a mile away from me here. And just to the east, or just to the west of Highway 53 on Dundee. And then also on Friday, the people that founded Indivisible, Ezra and Leah, this Friday only at 2 p.m. Central, they're doing their conversation. They call it a coffee with Ezra and Leah, where they literally talk about what our actions are, and they take questions from people that arrive. Now, in actuality, 7,000 people jump on that call, and there's probably 500 people that ask questions. So you're asked to vote up the questions that are most important to you, and they answer the 5 to 10 that are the most voted on. Really a very cool thing. And then this weekend on Saturday at 5 p.m., we're calling into Virginia for the governor's race. Our Indivisible Illinois is doing that. And then on Sunday, we're calling into the 3 Republican districts in the south of Illinois to talk about the Medicare and the fact that their Republican congressional folks voted against Medicare. And then Monday, we have our cultural civics, talking about civics and history, resilience in the 21st century, echoes of colonialization. This is a brand new group that this is their second program, where they tie together what we know about civics, history, and what's happening today. That's really cool. And folks, just in case you need more information about us, we've got our website, etc. But we do have also a Substack now that's about a month old. We have a couple hundred people that have joined that. It's really cool. And there is always an opportunity to have pizza with us. And that is going to be this coming Tuesday, 4 to 7 at Moretti's Pizza Place in Mount Prospect. a little bit different. We've exhausted our funds on this, so we're asking people to contribute. But we'll get anywhere from 20 to 40 people sitting around. And when Indivisible paid for it, we couldn't talk politics. But guess what? We can talk politics now. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you,
Thank
Kathy,
you.
for giving me the time.
Thank you, Bill. And I didn't mean to cut that slide off so fast. I was trying to copy the links and whoops, I brought the slide down. You know how that goes.
All
But I
right.
did just put all the links into the chat. And so I think at this time we want to hear from Mark and Joyce on GPAD DEMS and so forth, or was it Jim? Was it Jim or Mark who was going to talk
Can I
on?
just,
Go ahead,
Michelle?
Kathy, by all means.
So I want to say, Deb, I just got from Scott and Liz, his chairperson there, that they're on, but I don't know if I see them. Scott,
Scott is
Britton,
on.
are you on? Do you see
We're
him?
right here.
Do you see
Where
me?
are
Yeah,
you? Oh,
I'm
there
here.
you are. Hi.
I see Liz.
Okay, Liz, great.
I just made Scott a co-host.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
Liz
he's
will
got
be
slides.
in a second.
Excellent. But Liz does all the hard work, Bill, so that's good.
All right, do we want to wrap up them with Jim and Joyce real quick and then move on to Scott?
Yeah, I'll start. Joyce, you've got more information than I do, but what I want to talk about is it's still petition signing. We have till the end of this month. And our fearless leader for GPAD, Maria Gallo, still needs some signatures. So if you have time this weekend or next weekend, please volunteer. She has to get an unbelievable number of petitions, signatures to be on the ballot. And we can't go on without Maria leading GPAD. So she organized the other night a great fundraiser. We had over 100 people there. Scott was one of the speakers. It was great. But it's events like that Maria, and that's an unpaid position. She spends so much time doing that, so we need to make sure she is on the ballot and we can reelect her. So Joyce, go ahead.
Jim, you might want to mention her location so that if there are people on the call, that they can also, engage
Joyce,
in
do you
signing.
know how to get, I don't have her.
GPAD.org. I mean, that's what she is, right?
Yeah, gpadems.org. If you, she is in Palatine Township, which is a northwest suburb of Chicago. If you will be at our immigration rally tomorrow, I bring around petitions for Maria. If you're in that area, in our area in Palatine Township, or you can just bring them around to your neighbors. I've been, just going around to my neighbors. I just carry a petition with me for Maria. She's the one person now who really needs them.
Hello.
And just school boards, make sure to attend your school boards. We, with the elections coming, they're now manufacturing reasons for people to get angry and show up. Trans kids are the easiest target for them. So they are showing up at our D211 school board again. Speaking of hate, which is, what Scott's going to talk about. They like to hate on trans kids because it's just an easy target and it's disgusting. So make sure you're showing up. One other just plug on gun prevention. Both of my school districts now have a nice page. They just mirrored each other. I said, just copy it on gun safety. And I keep pushing them. I'm like, it's great the page is there. You've got to push it out. So make sure to keep bugging them for stuff like that. I show up to my school board meetings. And again, yesterday at my elementary and middle school, I said, they talked about it and they name checked me. And after the meeting, I said, but make sure you're putting it in the newsletter so people see it.
Thank you. All right, I think now we are ready to bring Scott Britton up and have him share. I met Scott about 3 years ago at a wonderful picnic that Bill has and had a great conversation with him. And ever since then, I've just been so impressed with just how he presents everything. And he started this Cook County United Against Hate. And I went to one of the beginning meetings of it, and there were many people there. And I took the pledge. So he's going to share a little bit about this, which we really need to be attended to. Thank you. Scott, go right ahead.
Thanks, Kathy, and thanks, Bill. It's always good to see you and Jim as well, and all my and Joyce and everybody that I get to see on a regular basis now. I wish that it wasn't quite so important that we're talking about this particular issue tonight, but it goes hand in hand with what I think is somewhat now the policy of the federal government, which is intolerance, hate, and greed drives so many of the decisions that get made in Washington. And what are we going to do about this? Now, I have made it clear that Cook County United Against Hate is not a partisan organization. We have Republicans, Independents, and Democrats who are part of it, because I think we should all be able to unite against hate in its, pretty much all its forms. But I also understand that the line is very fine these days with what I see happening, including in our area in Northern Cook County. So I think it is even more important for us to try to unite together and to bring more people into this coalition who are going to say that we are not going to stand for the forms of intolerance, prejudice, and bigotry that I see coming, unfortunately, now from the federal government as well. So this is the emblem of Cook County United Against Hate. We see so many emblems and significant items where referencing white supremacy or things that are very negative and in context about marginalized groups. This is our symbol of bringing us all together, I would hope, in a way that doesn't eliminate our differences, but it makes us at least approach each other with some respect. For instance, if anybody saw the congressional hearings yesterday with the Attorney General of the United States, who was basically a 12-year-old, we don't see much from the federal government. You can go to the next slide, Liz. That's me. I'm the Cook County Commissioner of the 14th District, which now covers all the way from the lake, so New Trier Township, all the way through Northfield Township, so Glenview, where I am, and Northbrook, and then all the way through most of Wheeling Township and probably about half or so of Palatine Township, all the way to Inverness and a little bit of South Barrington. And I have been here now for 7 years. Before that, I'm now entering my 24th year as an elected official in the area. So I have been around for a while, and I am planning to do this again. I'm pretty good on petitions, but I know that Maria needs all the help she can get, and I'd be happy to do that as well. You can go to the next slide, Liz. So first off, what I've been doing recently is I've done a couple of State of the County addresses, and they've gone over pretty well. Some of you may have been at one or two of them. Basically, I'm just trying to figure out how we can get more information to people about the important work that the county does, including in areas that are particularly relevant to what's going on with ICE raids and public safety and some other things that are going on pretty much constantly in our county. This is just a very busy slide, which shows all of the things that we do as a county government. The president of the county, Toni Preckwinkle, announced her budget this morning, which is a little over $10 billion of your taxpayer money, which covers all of these different things. And most significantly, our public health system, public safety, the sheriff, the public defender, the state's attorney, the jail, and the civil and criminal justice system, and then a bunch of other things, including roads and bridges, that are relevant to a lot of what happens in the northwest suburbs that I represent. You can go to the next slide. The reason why I think Cook County United Against Hate is particularly relevant these days, other than the obvious, is that we have seen an exponential increase in hate crimes reported in the United States. And by the way, the numbers are worse from 2023, where we have this kind of chart that kind of was primarily focused on. And we've seen in specific, and Joyce pointed out very succinctly, the trans community has now become demonized in a very, very significant way. But it does seem to flow after October 7th. There was some different issues with Palestinians and that young Palestinian boy who was killed in Plainfield. And then anti-Semitism has been also substantially on the rise, many, many times in percentage terms from October 7th and the Hamas attack. And then what we've seen with anti-Jewish graffiti and swastikas painted on synagogues, that has become It's not an explosion. It has been a tremendously increased incidence of these types of hate crimes. You can go to the next slide. So, you know, there's been a very substantial increase in the number of hate crimes that have been reported. And by the way, a lot of them don't get reported. A lot of undocumented groups are not going to report things that have happened. There's still some hesitancy among certain marginalized groups to report. So that number is low, I am confident of. And we, again, try to monitor these as best we can. But we are still, I think, at the beginning stages of really understanding the depth and the breadth of the number of hate crimes that take place in our state and specifically in our county. You can go to the next slide, please. So when I talk about hate, you know, it kind of all arises from the same kind of ignorant scapegoating and demonization that we see, and it varies from, you know, very basic misogyny and very basic racism. Still, you know, incidents against African Americans are still overwhelmingly the largest hate crime that take place in the United States. That should not be forgotten. The anti-LGBTQ plus trans women being murdered, which we have seen a tremendous increase in, and then of course, you know, the federal government now seeming to commit itself to further marginalizing groups that have made tremendous strides, I think, over the last decades, which I now feel is definitely endangered by what we're hearing from Washington. You can go to the next slide. So this all started a couple of years ago when I woke up one morning and went to my driveway to get my newspaper, and I found this material laying on my driveway. And it was in a plastic bag that was filled with rice, which I found out was there because it keeps it from blowing away. And it was specifically a bunch of, you know, really horrid anti-Semitic comments about COVID, about the war in Ukraine, about Jewish politicians, including some friends of mine who I serve with. And I thought to myself, one, it is very disturbing to have a neo-Nazi in your driveway. And two, if it's something that bothers me this much as a white Anglo-Saxon Catholic, what is it, you know, the other marginalized group, particularly my Jewish brothers and sisters who live down the street, what do they think about this? And then what do we do about it? And there were two different ways we could go. We could ignore it and like kind of let it die, which I've now learned, including from various Jewish groups, that is not the way to do it. You have to call it out and you have to take a stand. And so that's what I decided to do. You know, I kind of hope that this is one of those things that's going to be my signature as a politician in this area, that I decided that we were going to stand with all those groups that are being constantly bombarded with the hate and vitriol that comes from basically a white supremacy concept, but also then has been expanded into multiple different ugly manifestations of our common humanity, which I think we have to stand against. You can go to the next slide. One thing we do a lot of is trying to kind of define our terms. A hate crime is a criminal act. And what happens frequently is that a crime that would be considered a misdemeanor, like throwing a rock through a mosque's window, would be then upcharged to a hate crime and a felony if it has a racial or religious or other animus that would enable us to charge it higher. So one thing we have been doing, and there's now the new state's attorney has put a dedicated individual on hate crimes, which we didn't have before. And that is specifically to address this type of crime so that we make sure that it gets upcharged when necessary. Because the people who are throwing the rocks through synagogue windows are also the people who are then going to start doing more violent things, where we can catch these people early on and charge them and take them off the streets. I think that's going to keep everybody safer. So a hate crime is different than a hate incident, where somebody yells a racial epithet or does something like that. It may not necessarily be a crime, depends. And the First Amendment does cover a lot of that. But at the same time, our recommendation is if something happens, report it. Whether it's a crime or an incident, let's let the law enforcement authorities and the state's attorney figure out what they need to do to charge or not charge. But you have multiple ways you can do that. You can just call 911 for your local police department. You can report it to the Illinois Attorney General's hate crime reporting hotline, which is new. There is also the Cook County Sheriff, who's under my jurisdiction, has a discrimination hotline, and you can also call your local Human Relations Commission. So there's multiple different ways you can report it, but I urge people to do so, because if we don't see it, and we can't do anything about it. You can go to the next slide. So the concept is a pretty easy one. Hate against one is hate against all. I've often said, you know, I don't think that racism is a problem that needs to be solved by African Americans. I don't think that anti-Semitism is a problem that should be solved by Jewish people, or Islamophobia to be solved by Muslims. I think this is something that needs to be done by the larger community united in all of its forms, including people who look like me. So I feel like this is, you know, part of the concept that we're trying to impart, not only in, you know, forums like this, but throughout our communities, our not-for-profits, our chambers of commerce, and our schools, very specifically. You go to the next slide. So the concepts are a simple one. We're just trying to inspire everyone to publicly denounce hate, to create welcoming spaces, to support community learning, and to take action to dispense hate in all its forms. It's a big job. You know, my staff is a staff of 3, and with me, I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to be able to get all this done. But this is officially sponsored by the County of Cook, so it doesn't require any dues. If you take the pledge against hate, you're in. And you can go to the next slide. This is just the most recent, I think, coalition that we have. All these entities have signed on to Cook County United Against Hate. And I can tell you, I take a great deal of pride in our faith communities who have all joined us in every denomination, multiple different jurisdictions, municipal governments, park districts, school districts, you know, so many different people throughout the northern suburbs and the northwest suburbs. And these are the people who then are doing the work on the ground to try and further explain to people why this is continuing to happen, and that we need to call it out as best we can in every corner of our communities where it's going to be a continuing problem. And you go to the next slide. And we create these welcoming spaces by giving out the symbol. You put in your window if you'd like. Also, that you can take the pledge against hate, and we'll show you the website here shortly. As you can see, we have a number of different communities that have signed on. Buffalo Grove, Glencoe, or in the pictures that you see. And again, we're trying to make this a visible sign of how the county stands with individuals who would be otherwise feel like they're out there on their own, to show that there are a lot more of us than there are of them, and that we're going to stand with those people. And when appropriate, we're going to defend them in our courts of law and through our local law enforcement. We can go to the next slide. And this is what we do. We do various screenings. These have been very well attended. I've been very gratified by people coming out. We do workshops. We show different films about incidents that have happened throughout the country where you know, a particularly horrible incident, for instance, might have given rise to a community group that's going to stand united against the type of discrimination and prejudice and bigotry that caused the violent incidents in the first place. We've also gotten the people to talk to each other, which I think is a tremendous benefit, particularly in these days, and that I hope that everyone gets a chance to participate in one of these, as we try to do them every quarter or so. And we are coming up now against United Against Hate Week, which is in October, where we'll be doing an additional function for school students at the Botanica, which is in my district. This next slide shows you the pledge. That's all you got to do is go to the website, cookcountyunitedagainst-hate.com, sign up. You do not have to give a credit card, and you are in. And then you'll see on the right-hand side is this right to be youth action, which we're going to take. You know, I hear a lot about grooming coming from the other side. There's grooming going on, but it's mostly from right-wing groups online through gaming and social media that are turning people into people that I don't think we want them to be. And that is why we're trying to specifically target target's a bad word. We're trying to emphasize a lot of the information that we're getting out to our school students and in our schools to make sure that they understand that this is the type of thing that we need to reject, and from a young age. You go to the next slide. So there's the QR code if you want to take the pledge. I won't make you raise your right hand now, but it is a very easy thing to do. And you know, we'll also, if you sign up, we'll send you our newsletter every month that talks about all the events that we have going on, how you can take actions in your local communities to help with Cook County and the Against Hate. I can tell you that I presented on this issue to the National Association of Counties, and I am meeting next week with Lake County, and I'm going to offer them to change Cook to Lake, and they can then have Lake County United Against Hate. As far as I'm concerned, if we could do it for all 102 counties in the state of Illinois, I would do it. I'm not sure how to have time to drive around to all of those, but you know, we'd give it a shot, because this is exactly what I think we need to try and emphasize. Particularly in talking to a progressive group, you know, this is particularly personal for me, because I want to make sure that we stand united, all of us, but we have to further expand the tent, and we have to listen, we have to understand, and then we have to explain why it is these types of policies, government edicts, statements from various politicians can be so incredibly damaging. And I'll leave you with this. You know, if there's just one kid walking down the hallways of one of our high schools who is more comfortable now wearing a Star of David or a hijab or a flag t-shirt or whatever they're going to do, and they feel supported and heard by their community, I feel like we've done something. And at the same time, because of my role and my law enforcement connections with the sheriff and the state's attorney, we're going to take the bad guys and gals off the street, and most of the guys, by the way. And that's why I feel we have a real mission that we can accomplish, both on the ground and kind of in hearts and minds. So thank you.
Scott, thanks so much. I have a question in the chat from Kathy Risberg. Have the Palatine, Wheeling, and Schaumburg Township offices signed on with Cook County United Against Hate? And have local school districts officially signed on? Or I'm asking if there maybe even are some peer groups of young people that are working together?
We do have, you know, so we have most of the municipalities have signed on. Some of the townships have. I'd have to double check, and I haven't really gone with Schaumburg because Schaumburg's not really in my district, so I haven't emphasized that. But we have had most of the municipalities, including Palatine and Arlington Heights, have both signed on. And you know, it's just a matter of kind of it filters down to the townships last, it seems like. But I have talked to AJ at the supervisor of Palatine Township, and I think he's been supportive as well. I'm not sure if they officially did, but I can look into that. As to schools, it gets a little dicey because they try to stay away from anything that's matched with partisanship. But they certainly have been partners, and we've done a lot of activities with them, including this thing that's coming up in the Botanic Garden. But we're going to continue to get them as involved as we can.
Great. If they are learning hate on the online video games, what are the companies running these sites doing to stop this behavior? That's from Jennifer Keeler.
The answer to your question is nothing. And I know this because I'm embarrassed to say I play an online game. And the online game that I played on my iPad, it's mindless, but it gives me something to do when I have 5 minutes of free time. And a perfect example is you play people from all over the world. And I was playing someone, and their screen name was Zyklon B. Zyklon B was the gas that was used in the gas chambers in Auschwitz and throughout Germany during the Holocaust. And so I reached out to the company and I said, you can't have people, I mean, you're a private entity. There's no First Amendment issue here. You cannot have people with that name playing these online games. That is absolutely abhorrent. And they said, we do not police those things. We don't. And so, you know, and I can tell you, having partnered with the Simon Wiesenthal Center, you can go on Amazon right now and buy a swastika necklace. And the algorithm will then guide you to additional sites where you can buy more horrid crap like that. So, you know, the profit motive, it seems, trumps the better angels of our nurture.
Does anybody have a question for Scott?
Would you like hand raises?
Sure.
I just want to make a comment. Scott has made presentations to other groups. He came out and did a presentation for the Barrington Rotary not too long ago. So I'm just suggesting that if you have an organization where you think this might be appropriate, please contact Scott. Because the more people that hear about this, the stronger we will be.
Thanks, Jim. Ann Galkin has her hand raised.
Okay.
Hi, it's Ann. I just want to thank you, Scott, for what you're doing, you know, for anti-Semitism. I'm Jewish, but for, you know, all people who feel marginalized in the community, and a little frightened right now as we see the rise of fascism in DC and Washington. And so I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, Ann, I can tell you, I was at a vigil for the hostages and God willing, they're going to be coming home soon. I was at the vigil in Skokie at a synagogue, and I can tell you the amount of security that we had there between the sheriff's office, the 3 or 4 local police departments, private security, and absolutely required. I cannot imagine what it's like going to your house of worship and having to walk through a phalanx of armed individuals, which is absolutely necessary to keep everybody safe. It is frightening, and it is the world we live in.
It is frightening, and it's been going on for a long time.
It has. It's just
you know,
I think
you know, temples will invite police for many years to come and train inside their building, so that if they do have an emergency inside the building, the police officers have been in there before and can and know the floor plan from memory. We've always had armed guards and certain members of the congregation whose job is to stand between you know, the doorways and take bullets while other people leave. You know, it's a lot of people don't know what it feels like to go to temple. And it's frightening. And this year, my husband and I, we have a relative in Montana, and we decided to attend high holiday services. We're in the middle of the Jewish high holidays right now. There's Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Those are heavily guarded events, and I'm just too frightened. And so my husband and I just decided, you know what? Our kids are grown. We're just going to do it virtually. We're going to join the temple in Montana, and we're just going to join, and you know, and we're just going to watch virtually, and you know, get involved with that community, which, like I said, a relative is involved with, because we're tired of that feeling, and we feel like we have to pick our battles. So to have somebody who's not part of our community raising his voice and insisting that things change, it is just like, when I get off this call, I'm going to see my daughter and my husband. My daughter's in town visiting, and I'm going to tell them the good news, because this is wonderful news for a Jewish family.
Great. Scott, can some of those, you know, Cook County Against Hate, but the symbol that you have is excellent. I really love, you know, the particular ad that you have, your logo. Is that something that maybe can be used as you spread the word in other states too, or is this just basically in Illinois?
So I've offered it at the National Association of Counties meeting. I offered it. Now, I didn't get a lot of people in the red states interested in doing it, interestingly enough, but I did offer to whoever wants it. I'll replace your county with your name and replace Cook County with yours wherever you want it. And I will give you it is not copyrighted. You can use it all you want. And so, yeah, that's, now again, I've been trying to kind of focus on the 14th district initially, and now we're branching out. We're getting further afield, and now going into not only other areas of Cook County, but also now Lake County. It's incremental, mostly because again, there's just me and my 3 staff who are superhuman, but cannot do everything. And so we're doing our best.
Looks like Sabrina has a question. She has her hand up.
Yeah, Kathy kind of beat me to it, but I was about to say I'm in Florida and I love this idea. And I'm connecting with the Indivisible group in Florida. So I was just going to ask the same thing, like steps to like move it beyond Chicago, basically.
Yeah, and I'm happy to, I'm easy to find on, you can send me an email, and if any county official, and I've talked to a few who might be interested in doing it, they will get the packet, our resources, and the symbol, and they can use it as they will.
Thank you. Joyce, your hand is up.
I want to say thank you to Scott as always for the great work he's doing. It's greatly appreciated. And I love that it's being shared with other groups. My sister's family is Jewish, and I don't really realize it until she tells me. She's like, we're like when they travel, they have to think about anti-Semitism and what the climate is where they go, whether that's domestically or abroad. And it's something that I don't think about, and it's very eye-opening. So I appreciate all that you're doing, Scott, as always. And I love that it's being, of course, share it with everyone, because that's really how we make changes, make it easier for other areas and other groups to do things, just do the blueprint. And that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Joyce.
I have one more question. Deb, does anybody else have a question or?
I do not see anything at this moment because you caught Kathy's in the chat. I'm just searching really quick here because I'm trying to
Bill
find.
Hurt said that the QR code and pledge sign up works very smoothly. He was able to sign up. That's great. Yeah, I was able to sign up right away too when I was at a meeting, one of his first open houses that Scott had, and it was a really great introduction to this. Scott, if you were to recommend one thing, like when you're running your seminars, what would be Against Hate 101, what would be a good way to approach someone or begin a conversation? What's a way that we can spread this? And we're all volunteers to help too. So
one thing I've been kind of recommending to people is trying to go to someplace you don't necessarily go to a lot. Talk to somebody so you can go to their services at their synagogue or their mosque. The Sikh community in Palatine has a wonderful facility and they are wonderful, welcoming folks, and you can learn a bit more about the Sikh religion. I have a Hindu temple about 300 yards from my house here in Glenview. I think being able to understand each other's not just religion, but their backgrounds. We have a large Mongolian community now in my area that have immigrated here, who are now also subject to ICE raids, by the way. It's not just Latin X people. So that, I think, getting to know your neighbors, to know that they're seen and that their different traditions are something that make us better through the diversity that is I think our strength of this country always has been, and I hope will be once we get through the current period, which seems a little different in its orientation than we've had before. So that'd be the thing that I kind of mention to people, because I do think understanding equals tolerance.
Joyce
And I
and
think-
Jim, you have your hands up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not so much a question for Scott. It's I have a question. You guys put a phone number for a rapid response team. I know nothing about the rapid response team. What is that?
Well, it's a phone number where if you see ICE like in a parking lot or approaching a building, you can actually call this and they will have people come and just monitor. If they're looking for a gang member or something, but they can't be doing racial profiling. That's what the rapid response team would do. They will help to calm the situation or really keep an eye on what's going on, what they're doing. Maybe say, hey, you're not allowed to go into that building. If they're, if someone, let's say the person who is in the building says you can't come in and they're being ignored, if there's a chance there can be violence, and I've heard from other people, and I've kind of read about it in Chicago, that it's basically, they come.
I just put a link in from Wikipedia.
That's something.
And for our immigrant rally, I literally put that on a sign.
Yes.
It just says, if you see ICE, call this number, so that the people in the area also know to call that number. And we know, because that, like to me, I think that's really useful information as people are driving by or, protesting with us.
Scott, a lot of us here, as you probably know, with Bill Davis and Indivisible and everything, we're all getting really nicely trained in how to talk to people and how to find common ground, to appreciate different cultures, to be good listeners. Would there be anything that we could do to help you spread the word, or just basically invite you to speak to different groups? Are you real busy and crazy?
So I still
'Cause we're
practice
good at
law in
this
addition
now.
to doing all this other stuff. So it's been a little bit complicated. But I can tell you that the rest of the year I have no further trials scheduled. And by the way, I'm not the accused, I'm the lawyer. So I have to make that clear. But so I'm within my limited ability, and I'll find a way. I'm happy to speak to anybody who'll listen to me about this issue. I think it's that important, and it's become even more important than when I first started this, 2 years ago, because of some Yahoo dropped anti-Semitic literature in my driveway. Little did I know how bad it was going to get, and where we are now, particularly with, undocumented and racial profiling, which is happening, and the things that are happening with the masked ICE agents. I never thought I'd see in this country. So I'm happy to talk to anybody who will listen to me, whether it's my district or not. I'm happy to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. That's a good note to leave on. I'll invite Bill to say anything else he wants here. And then reminder that we got at least 3 events tomorrow: coffee and conversation at 9, unhappy happy hour at 5. And if you want some live protesting, we'll be at the northwest corner of Dundee and Baldwin Roads, just to the west of Route 53.
Yeah.
So, okay, Kathy, Bill, go ahead.
Well, Scott, I just want to thank you so much. I'm just honored to have you, and Liz has been great to talk with, to make sure that you could be with us.
It makes me look good, Debbie.
It certainly is something. With all of the hate out there, it's like, oh my goodness, where do we start? But it's one step at a time. And that's what I think in our group we are doing. And our fearless leader, Bill, he keeps encouraging us to keep going. And this is just another aspect. So everybody do go on to the website, look at all of the different things that they're doing, take the pledge, and we will be sure that we will spread the word for you. Anybody else have anything else they want to say to Scott? Except thank you. And Bill, are you there?
I guess I was muted. Yeah. Scott, I just thank you for doing this, for presenting this to us, but more importantly, what you're doing it, how you're doing it, and the openness that you have to move this across boundaries in different areas. Today on this call, I was doing a quick count. I think we have 20 people from across the country that are involved with Indivisible, Move On, their local Democratic groups, and you probably saw a lot of information and interest in what you're doing. So just thank you so much for everything that you do, every day that you do it, and you have our full support from NWSOFA.
I appreciate that, and I am running for re-election, by the way. This way.
You are running, yes, exactly. And Scott, if we wanted to get some decals or what, for our businesses, because I have a business, how do I get something like that? Do I go on your website and?
Just go on the website and send me an email. It's all my contact information is there, and we'll get back to you.
Okay, great, because those are really nice decals to have up. Very important right now, for sure.
Yeah, I had to pay for it myself, but you know, it's okay.
I
Happy to do
know.
it.
It's an investment. Remember that. And
Thank
Deb,
you.
Ruby, thank you so much for your help this evening.
Yep. Thank you all. And thank you also,
Thank you.
Joyce and Jim and everybody who helped out. All right, guys, that's a wrap. I'm going to close it up. I have saved most of the chat.
I'll save it
everybody's-
right now.
Yeah, save it right now. You'll catch the very last of it. And we hope to see you all tomorrow or next week at one of our events. So have a great evening and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.